Hey everybody, today we're going to be looking at doing a natural shelter with mostly natural materials and give you an idea of just how hard work this is.
I think it's a little bigger than what JJ was thinking.
Well,
Okay, so this is going to be our ridgepole, and we just stripped all the boughs off of it so we could go ahead and use them for the back roof section as well to help add to it. This is a green, or fairly green. It was cut probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, so it's still real solid. The thing about ridgepoles is, whatever you decide to use, just make sure that it's solid enough that it's going to be able to hold the whole weight of the shelter and not fall on you. You also need to consider additional weight for snow. Snow weighs quite a bit, so if you're in a wintertime environment and you're expecting snow, then you want to make sure it's good and heavy. So this is going to be plenty heavy. We just got to bust all the branches off this. Take them and just throw them in the firewood pile. If you see any other holes,
Shelter's done.
if you need to tie them with line, we can. If not, then cool.
what?
It's pretty lazy, but it works.
I'm going to start bringing up. If you want to start bringing up those boughs?
Sure.
And any more long, thin sticks? We just work kind of the opposite of the fire. We start with the big thick ones, then go to the medium, and then go to the little one. I'll go over here and pull some branches, some more medium-sized branches. Well, now we're just getting more boughs for it. Don't ever let anybody tell you that making a natural shelter is easy. It's a lot of work. Jeff, if you want to grab these bare limbs and put them kind of in the middle and just start kind of weaving them in there and just shooting them up there. It don't matter how they go, really.
Okay.
Just kind of add to the framework, basically. What these are going to do is just help hold the boughs up. You know, just kind of try to space them out as much as you can.
just got bowed up, man.
Yep.
Bowed up. I got stuff in my shirt, my undies.
Oh, I'm tired. That's the thing about natural shelter is they're not pretty. But the basic concept, I don't know if she had it going a minute ago, but the basic concept once you start putting this material on is start at the bottom and work the sides and the bottom and then work your way up to the top. And the concept is it's kind of like shingles where the water will run off. But ultimately what ends up happening in reality is you just end up piling it on so thick that hopefully once you get through the bottoms, the other side, and you look up through it, hopefully you won't see light. I mean, to get 100% waterproof, they say, you know, you're at that point when you don't have light coming through. We probably won't get all that way today because we don't want to cut down too many trees, but in a real situation, that's what you'd have to do. So this is going to give us a good demonstration of what it looks like and a good idea of just how much work it is to do this. So.
Starting to look any thicker yet?
I think so.
Oh, just over to the side. Don't drag these branches through on it. There's no hard and fast rule on what kind of material you have to use for a natural shelter. So we've been adding boughs. We've cut down all the trees that we wanted to. A lot of these trees were kind of strategically placed trees that we wanted to cut down for our deer hunting. But we're also going to add, you know, some old bark, some rotten wood. You can throw leaves up on there. You can throw pretty much anything. The whole idea is to get anything to deflect a water drop so that it will start falling at more of a downward angle down the pitch of the slope. And then by the time it makes all its little ways through hitting stuff, the water is all at the base of the shelter instead of coming through on top of you. So you can use any material. We chose this because it was convenient for what we were doing today, and it was killing two birds with one stone, what we needed to accomplish. So with this bark here, this is a big old piece of dead oak, and I can double my material out of this that I can get to it or use from it by separating the bark from the wood, and then I can take those and add those as planks, you know, any other place where I've got holes or whatever, and it's going to save a little bit of resources because I tell you what, making these shelters not easy. No matter what most YouTube videos make it look like, it's a lot of work. And we've been at it for about an hour and a half now. So you think one guy, that's 3 hours worth of work. It's really almost, I mean, you got to really consider whether or not it's going to be worth your expenditure of calories. Now, this shelter is big enough for 2 or 3 people, and it's bigger than what you would need to do. You could build something like this using these principles and these characteristics on a much smaller scale for one person, and that would really be the way to go if you had to do it with natural material. But the overall moral of this story is have a kit with you, have a backpack, have some supplies, bring some kind of tarp material, bring some kind of plastic or something like that, because as you'll see in another video here pretty soon, it's a whole lot faster, a whole lot easier, and really more effective in the long run. So just something to consider with natural shelters. So this is a big dead log, and another thing you can do is, even though the bark's not on it, it's all rotted and everything like that, you can still grab hold of it, pull off big chunks. Okay, so here we are at the inside. I'll give you a little overview. natural shelter's about done. We've got our fire here. Got a big chunk of just rotten stump kind of acting as a fire reflector. And then we could move that fire closer if we needed to, but since we were building it, we wanted to keep it back a little bit so we weren't walking on it. But anyhow, got Jeff down underneath there. You show that it's plenty big. It's really bigger than it needs to be. And the goal here when you're doing this, like we were saying earlier, is to kind of try to get to the point where you really don't have any light coming through. We're still a little light. We probably should get a couple more boughs and put some more on if we were looking to have it completely waterproof. But the basic purpose of us being out here today was just to kind of show you the principles that were needed, the framework that it requires, and the kind of pitch and angle that you're looking for, and just how much material you actually need when you do a natural shelter. And as you can see here, I mean, if you hold your hand up like you're waving to me. I mean, that's probably what, 6 or 7 inches, his palm. You can compare that to the thickness of the shelter. It's probably 2.5 feet or so, thick from the bottom of the frame out to the outside of the material. So, at least in the center portion there, probably at least 2 feet. It doesn't take a lot of paracord. We only used 2 12-foot pieces of paracord. Well, actually, I take that back. Did you use 2 more, Jeff?
Yes.
On the framework?
Yeah, but they weren't that long.
Okay. A couple additional pieces of paracord holding the secondary framework in there. So the other thing we have going with this shelter is we have these trees are actually live, the ones around here. It's wintertime, so they look like they're dead, but we've knocked down a few of the deadfalls, widowmakers. There's one that was right here, and we took that down, and then there was one over here. So that's kind of the first safety consideration, is making sure that you don't have anything that's going to fall on your tree. There's the other one we took down. And then the second thing is, obviously, make sure that you're not in an area that's going to flood. We are up here. There's a creek over there, not far away, but we're up far enough that the water is not gonna come through here. So we're also out of the wind. We've got a ridge line up over here, really to both sides of us, and we're kind of midway between the top of the ridge and the very bottom. We're kind of to the bottom third, I suppose. But the other good thing from a survival aspect, if you were out here trying to get rescued or whatever and you couldn't really travel anywhere for whatever reason, whether it be because you were lost or because you were injured or whatever, we're also out here into an open area. We're close to an open area where we could lay out some ground to air signals to be able to signal for rescue. So again, like I said, the overall moral of this video is natural shelters are a ridiculous amount of work, and they take a lot of time. It took 2 of us about a little over 3 hours, or well, an hour and a half. So times 2 people, about 3 hours to construct this shelter. So, and that's not including the fire or gathering, the firewood. I mean, we've been burning the wood that we gathered from these sticks, but that's about it. Some of the other things we can do to improve this shelter, obviously, are put an insulation bed down underneath Jeff where he's sitting there to lay on, and we want to pile that up at least 18 inches to 2 feet. And then also we could build a framework down on the sides and cut off those sides as well and cover those over just to act as a wind block. And really, you wouldn't even have to go the whole way up. If you could just do the sides, say 2 feet up or so, and then when you're laying down, the wind would come across there and it'd be over the top of you. But you could go all the way up too if you needed to. So, and then also, like I said, we could move the fire a little bit closer. We could stretch it out to like a long type fire, and then improve on our fire reflector here as well. So, just a few thoughts. And the other thing, if you had an emergency blanket, one of those cheap ass emergency blankets, you could put that behind you, and that would help reflect the fire, the heat from the fire. You just put it up on the back side of the shelter there, up in there, and that would help reflect the heat back to you as well. So anyway, those are just some things you can do to add to it and make it a little better. Appreciate you guys watching, appreciate you subscribing, and this is it for natural shelters. So I would suggest carrying a survival kit or some type of shelter piece with you, because it sure makes life a lot easier. Everybody stay safe.
I don't know.
Aw, wasn't that cute?
I look over and JJ's there, so I got distracted.
I do have that effect on people.
You do.